Good afternoon, ma. You're welcome to this feature of Piero Man of the Month. My name is Stella Uposiboji, and I work as the Programs and Membership Executive. On the call with us today, we have Aishat Onusi. Um, she's currently the Managing Director and Lead Consultant at Four Icons Premium Limited, a multi-disciplinary consulting firm specializing in strategic communications, knowledge management, public relations, and capacity building. In this role, she's responsible for developing and implementing the strategic vision and business plans aligned with industry trends, managing daily operations to ensure quality, creativity, excellence, and innovation in their service offerings. As lead consultant, she has led the training of over 500 project staff on strategic communications in over 10 states across Nigeria. She has also consulted for World Bank projects and other donor-funded projects in Nigeria. We are very privileged to have Aisha with us today because she has previous experience working as the National Communication Specialist for the World Bank Appeals Project. She also has in-depth knowledge working as technical advisor on new media to the Honorable Minister, Federal Ministry of Agriculture and Rural Development. Aisha has worked as the Principal Public Affairs Officer and Broadcast Monitoring Officer at the National Broadcasting Commission. She has a master's degree in mass communication and theater arts from the University of Benin and currently pursuing a PhD in media arts at the University of Abuja. Her research interest is in development communications. She has attended and participated in major industry-related local and international conferences, exhibitions, and training in Nigeria, Africa, Europe, America, and Asia. She's a fellow of the Institute of Information Management, Africa. She's also a full member of Nigerian Institute of Public Relations. She's also a member of the Internet Society of Nigeria, and I'm very proud she's a premium member of Nigerian Women in Public Relations. Thank you so much, Ma. We are very excited to have you here with us.
Thank you very much, Stella. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, the PR Woman of the Month is an initiative by the Nigerian Women in Public Relations to spotlight women in public relations and communications that are doing great work and for more people to know about the great work that they are doing. So others can look at it as a resource later and it will guide them, give them the encouragement they deserve and all of the necessary support they require. So for a young girl that's saying, I want to go into public relations and communication, they can come back to this interview and gain insights, gain direction, and just gain all the support they need. So once again, you're welcome. And thank you for accepting to be the PR Woman of the Month. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
All right. So we just want to know, how did you get into public relations? Was it something you always knew you wanted to do, or it's something you stumbled upon?
Thank you for the question. Well, for me, I think this is what I was always meant to do. I'm exactly where I'm meant to be. This is all I've ever done, all my professional life. I've been in PR and communications from the very start. And then education-wise, I have a very solid foundation in communications. As you just mentioned, as you just highlighted while you were introducing me, I studied communications at the undergraduate level and also studied mass communication and theater arts at the master's degree level. And right now, I am studying for my PhD in media arts. So it's always been, I've just been in the right place right from the beginning. This is all I've ever done. My being in PR and communications is not by accident. It's been by design from the beginning. And, there is nowhere else I would rather be than, do this job.
That is good to know. So from a very young age, you had a clear path that this is what you wanted to do and this is what you love doing. I think getting clarity at such early career stage is very important. So thank you for sharing. So we also want to know some successful campaigns you worked on because we see that your portfolio is quite large. You work with the World Bank, you work with the Ministry of Agriculture. We want to know some of the strategies that you implemented that made your work stand out.
Okay, thank you. So I've had the opportunity to, diversify my experience working, across MDAs. I've worked in ministry, department, agency, and then I've also had the privilege of working in an international development project. And currently, I work as an independent consultant, as you've earlier highlighted. So, across all of these places where I've worked, I've had the opportunity to be part of some very successful, communication strategies and media campaigns. The first one that comes to mind is, let me talk about a successful campaign that I spearheaded when I was at the Federal Ministry of Agriculture. So when the Nigeria Agriculture Promotion Policy was launched in 2016. It was the national policy on agriculture to be implemented from 2016 to 2020. I had the opportunity to come up with some creative media ideas and campaigns to contribute meaningfully to the implementation of that policy. One of the key components of that policy was treating agriculture as a business. 10 years, 15 years ago, agriculture wasn't as attractive as it is now. It was seen, especially by young people, as the occupation of the poor or illiterates that are in the villages. It wasn't seen as a profitable area to practice. So there was this component that was to promote agriculture as a business. Then there's another component that was promoting participation and inclusiveness. So we sat down and we looked and said, okay, the low-hanging fruits here that we can use to promote these two components out of the 11 components. And we discovered that Nigeria's youth population, which is quite large, is a great asset, to our agricultural sector. But how do we get them to be interested in this sector that has long been seen as, it's for the never-do-wells, it's for poor people, it's for people that didn't go to school, which is not true, because even at that time, we had so many successful young people in agriculture that they were doing very well. They just needed their success stories to be amplified and put out there for people to see. So the strategy now sought out to, what do you do? Because in every successful PR strategy or communication strategy built on a solid stakeholder management plan. You need to know who are your stakeholders, who are your target audience, who are the publics that you're targeting. So in this case, we were looking at drawing young people into the sector. What did we do? We tried to bridge the gap because there's a huge gap between policymakers and the young Nigerians that we're targeting. What did we do? We looked for an appropriate, intervention that could come and bridge that gap. So the whole idea was to now collaborate with social media influencers who are, social media influencers that have large youth followership, so that the message, because the Honorable Minister was very passionate about this, these policies, to see how he could reach out to young people and encourage them into coming into agriculture. And he relied heavily on communication. He was really, but how do we reach out to these young people? How can I talk to them? So the social media influencers were now used as the one that would come and bridge that gap between the policymakers and the young people that we're targeting. So we came up with this campaign that we tagged HM Agric Meets. It's actually a hashtag that was trending back then. So this idea was to bring these social media influencers to have a live interactive session with the Honorable Minister. And, we go live on all media platforms. We're tweeting. And prior to this meeting, we had already popularized, we had already publicized it, and everybody was looking forward to it. And another innovative approach that we took was, we did not do this interaction in a conference room or in a conference center. We took it to the farm. A lot of people that came for that were like, this is the first time. Some of them had never been to a farm before. I remember when we were planning it in the group, some people were saying, should they come with life jackets? Should they come with this? And I'm like, no. So we did it in the farm. It's a very organic environment that allowed us to have this very organic conversation. So these social media influencers came and they were asking the honorable question directly. And some of these questions were already collected online from young people that had sent the questions, and then we realized that it's not like these young people were not interested. They had a lot of questions that were unanswered. They were actually curious, but there were no answers, and they wanted to know what were the opportunities there for them, because involving young people in agriculture does not only help us to increase our local food production, it also helps to reduce youth unemployment. So this interaction was very successful because as we were there, the questions were being asked and questions were coming in. The Honorable Minister was answering and then the response was being posted. And I can tell you that this campaign was really, really successful because after we held this campaign, the influx of inquiries, people coming forward to say, the minister talked about social program we didn't know existed. How do we key in? How can we become part of this? We are really interested. Some of them even studied agriculture in the university. You can imagine. Somebody studied agriculture, in the university, agriculture-related course in the university, and they're just sitting down, not practicing. Agriculture is practical. It's not theory, So we saw, that interest, and then we also used our social media platforms to celebrate successful young people in agriculture. We're doing it in series and showcasing them. In fact, you see some of them, you would think you would see there was this young lady, you would think she's a fashion model. Like, is this a farmer? So that kind of changed the perception that agriculture was dirty, that agriculture is not cool. So we succeeded in changing their mindset. So this readily comes to mind. So another campaign that I would like to touch on briefly is the work I did at the APIS, the World Bank supported APIS project, which was more of a campaign to create a knowledge sharing culture in the project. One of the problems that, one of the factors that is contributing to we not moving at the pace we should be moving in terms of development is because we do not learn from our previous experiences. And we don't do enough knowledge transfer. People have so many ideas, so many useful ideas in their heads, that is tacit knowledge. And then they keep it, they don't share it. You see, there's this saying that knowledge is power. No, it's not just any knowledge that is power. Knowledge shared is power. Because when you have something in your head and you refuse to share, and then others do not have the opportunity to learn of the idea and benefit from it, then of what use is that knowledge? And knowledge management thrives on effective communication. Without communication, you cannot share. So we started this, it was a component of the project, a sub-component of the APIS project that was really important to the World Bank because they wanted us to create a system that encourages knowledge sharing, not only sharing, but storing knowledge capitalization, so that when this project is done and parts of the next one that comes after could learn from some of the mistakes, some of the lessons that this project learned, so that they can also take something away from it. So we started by doing a needs assessment, because first of all you need to know where are we right now. So PR is strategic. It's not something you just jump up and start, I want to embark on a campaign. No, it's very strategic. You need to, first of all, define clearly what are the issues, where are we? And this may require a needs assessment, like in this case. We needed to do a needs assessment to know in the project, how are we sharing knowledge at the moment? What are even the preferred mode of receiving information? What are the problems that even the project staff perceive as holding them back from sharing knowledge? And then when we did that, we also did capacity building to kind of train them on the importance, give them practical instances of how not sharing knowledge is beneficial for everybody. So then we then put in place a central knowledge repository. It's like a bank. It's like a bank where you deposit money and then you can withdraw. So the central knowledge repository was created at the Central, which is in Abuja, contributed, jointly developed by all the participating states in six states, all the participating states in Nigeria, 6 of them. So all of the knowledge, assets, all of the local discoveries that are being made. If Kano is producing rice and Lagos is producing rice, maybe they are producing different species or the same species. If Kano is making progress in a particular area, or there's an innovation that was discovered, we want it documented. If there's a solution to rice blast disease and it was discovered in Enugu, we want it documented so that farmers in Kogi that would encounter the same problem could also apply the same solution. So we created a central knowledge repository where we categorize the knowledge, the different types of knowledge and how they should be documented. And then it is retrieved. Anybody can, and by the way, when I say knowledge repository, it's cloud-based. It's not a physical library. It's cloud-based knowledge repository, so that wherever you are, distance is not a barrier. You could just log in and then you can access any of the information that you need. So this was something that was very novel. It hadn't been done before. When I was given the assignment, I was actually quite challenged. And that is where I would like to, if I can use this opportunity to advise those of us that are in PR and comms, never be afraid to take on a new challenge. Every new challenge that is thrown at you is an opportunity for you to also, it's a learning experience. It's a learning experience. As you are trying to solve the problem, you are also learning. So it was a hugely successful intervention that as we speak, that knowledge, the project has successfully been completed and closed, but that knowledge repository still exists, so and it has really been helpful. In fact, it wasn't just helpful to the project staff. It's something that is also helpful to anybody that is interested in agriculture. It could be a student in agriculture that is researching on any of the value chains that we supported. It could be rice, it could be cassava, it could be tomato. All of those knowledge assets are securely documented in the clouds, and it's an open source knowledge. Anybody can access it. So you see, naturally, people don't think that they don't see communication or PR as a tangible thing. Like, is it not just to communicate? It's not just PR. No, PR, you could see how we use communication to solve a real problem. Because we discovered that how knowledgeable the team members are, how knowledgeable the stakeholders are, contributes directly to productivity. You are as good as what you know. What you don't know, you can't do. So communication is a solution, is a tool that can be used to effectively, solve tangible problems, either in projects, in organizations, in any setup at all. So I'll stop here, but I can still continue to talk about that strategy. But let me stop here.
Oh, thank you so much, Ma. I would say that from what you said already, there's a lot to learn because I myself I studied forestry and wildlife from the University of Benin, and we're under the Faculty of Agriculture. So most of us, yeah, we wanted something else, but we're given agriculture. You know, we have agricultural economics, crop science. We have different departments in agriculture. And I will tell you for free that most of us just studied it and we graduated, but we didn't proceed with agriculture. And what you said that really struck me is that there's success and there's money in agriculture, but most people do not know. And I think that campaign you worked on is really, really impactful. And I think it's something that should be continuous so that even the younger generations that are upcoming knows that when they get to school, even study agriculture, there's a future, there's a financial stability with agriculture. I would say that was very, very touching
Sure.
because I can actually relate. Um, Again, using communication to change the perspective or the perception about agriculture, that was really impactful. And the part that you got the youth online to ask their questions, and again, being human centric, the good thing about public relations and communication is the human in the human beings involved is not forced, it just happened naturally. When you use the farmland as the location, that was for me was taking the solution to the faces of the people to actually, we are not just saying it, but this is where we are at. I would say I really love that part. And for the cloud base, it's really, really, I would say it's very, very time sensitive, and technology is improving, and farmers too needs to know that the internet technology can also help them create great products. And yes, what you said, never be afraid to take on new challenges. I believe that everyone will take this because there are some things that come up and you do not know how to start or how to go about it, but never be afraid to take on new challenges. So thank you so much, Ma. I gained a lot from what you just shared. So we just want to know how you collaborate with other teams or departments because from your wealth of experience, you've worked with a lot of ministries, a lot of teams. And me, I'm wondering at the top of my mind, like, how have you been able to work with these different teams? Because the way they do things are completely different, and you work with multifaceted teams, you worked with multiple teams, and you've been able to deliver successful strategies. So me, I would want to know, someone that is watching also want to know how have you been able to collaborate with other teams, departments to align your PRO strategy to achieve the broader business goal or the organizational goals?
Thank you. That's a fantastic question. You know, one of the greatest challenges that we face in the industry is that communication is undervalued, especially in non-coms organizations, where communication is just seen as a support service department. You understand what I'm saying? At the Nigerian Women in Public Relations, for instance, communication is the core thing you do. So you understand, you already get it. But when you talk about ministries, different ministries, agencies, even projects, communication, even though, well, they're improving gradually in understanding, but it is always not easy because communication is seen as this abstract thing that does not have any tangible impact on the overall success of the organization. They don't see it, they can't connect the dots, they don't see it. And what happens because of this perception? Communication is poorly funded. I have worked with so many communication officers from different states in different projects, and one thing, the number one cry is they say there's no money. And you know that communication is not cheap. Communication is not cheap at all. So it's not been easy moving from, just like you said, moving from the different organizations. Everywhere you get to is a new scenario, it's a different scenario. So, and over the years, I have actually adopted a lot of strategies for collaboration that have worked, and I'm going to share. Number one, I would say that as a PR or comms practitioner, that finds yourself in a non-coms environment where you're just seen as a support, go and call journalists or go and bring, go and write press release. They don't see you as a core part of the organization that contributes to the success, to the overall objective. I would advise you to get your office politics on point. Yes, you need to play your office politics very well by making sure that your colleagues, the people that you work with, understand what you do. Like I always say, you cannot support what you don't understand. Sometimes in many organizations, they resist communication. Every idea you bring, they'll tell you, nah, how are you going to spend so much? No, it's not just, nah, we don't need that. So if you cultivate that cordial relationship with your colleagues, not everybody, you have to identify the key stakeholders. Even in implementing this strategy I'm talking about, you have to do a small stakeholder analysis. Who has the influence? Who has the interest? Who is your approving authority? If you're a member of management and you have to go to the boardroom to defend your ideas and your budgets, your colleagues are going to be helpful. Because when you go to the boardroom to defend budgets, they slash, they just remove the things that they think, no, this is just noise. So if they don't understand you, if they don't understand the importance of what you plan to do or what has been included in the work plan, nobody's going to come to your rescue. They're just going to take it off. So I do that one-on-one, that personal reach out to have them to understand. And when you do that, the great thing about communication is that when these people that are non-coms, when you make them really understand what they stand to benefit, they become really interested. Because you, as a communication or PR specialist in the organization, you are serving everybody's interest. You are managing the organization's reputation. You are creating and maintaining, good relationship with all of the stakeholders. You are fostering collaboration. So you are actually serving. You're a service department, and I know that the non-coms people actually everybody loves visibility. That one is the low-hanging fruit. They love visibility. They want to be seen. Everybody wants to be seen. So everybody you approach, you need to be able to prove to them that they have something to gain. If they have a component, they have different components. Say, this is your component. I mean, we can look at the platform. This platform can elevate, can actually amplify what you do. And your success stories will become more visible and it's out there, right? Then another thing I'll say is, it is great to formalize all your communication. It's great to write memos. It's great to initiate official emails. But I would advise you, if you are fortunate to have a good relationship with your approving authority, it could be your DG, it could be your CEO, it could be your managing director, try and have an official conversation before you present it officially. I don't know if you understand what I'm saying. Try and have a conversation, because when you are having that unofficial conversation, it gives room for immediate feedback. It gives you room to even explain what you can't explain in your memo. And trust me, when you get them on board unofficially, by the time your official memo arrives, it's just for mere formalities. You already got. Sometimes you actually get your approval before you get your proposals written, especially in the MDAs. As someone who has worked in government, most of the busy directors or whoever is signing is approving for you. They don't have time to read. Sometimes they don't. You know how we are with reading culture. You write a lengthy proposal, and then you drop it. They just look at it and say, "It's not just communication." They'll just look at the title and say, "Communication," and then they'll look at the amount. No. So, but if you engage them and have that opportunity to use that unofficial setting to make your points known, it makes it easier for you to scale through. And this is for the individuals, but as organizations, I have had the privilege of training, like the trainings that you mentioned were all on strategic communication and stakeholder engagement. So another thing that I championed when I was in the appeals project, and we successfully with my colleagues, was including non-communication people in communication training, organizing training to train them about communication. Because many of them came to this, when they come to this training, they come with a different, they're like, just what is communication? Then when they come and they listen, they'll be like, wow, is communication this technical? Is it this useful? Does it really tie directly achieving the development objective and the overall goal of the organization? And then you see that right from the training, you see the change. They begin to tell you, we had no idea, So what am I saying? Education matters. It still ties to what I talked about, relating with your colleagues and getting them on board. Sometimes the resistance that we experience, we comes and PR people, the resistance we experience system where we work is as a result of ignorance. They do not know, right? So they do not understand. But if you take the time and then break it down, like I always say, everybody wants to know what they stand to gain. When you go talking about your program, let them know what they stand to gain, how it serves their department, how it serves their purpose, and then the overall objective of the organization. So those are some of the of the strategies that I used that really worked for me, because there were so many difficult proposals that I got cleared, and people look at me and wonder, how did you do that? Is it magic? No, it's not. Communication is a tool. I still use the same communication to reach out to these people, and I did then every scenario, there's no one size fits all. Every scenario determines the kind of strategy that you use. When you find yourself in an environment that is highly political, like everybody, they have groups, everybody just moving. It's like their action always works. I tell you, there's nobody, you just need to choose the right language and the right channel, right? The right language, the right channel, your name must be perfect. And then when you can reach, it's not something you can do officially. If you want to start generally, you want to start addressing everybody that, please, I want everybody to know, you have to reach the individuals at their own levels. And once you have the support of the different department units that you work with, having successfully pointed out to them how this strategy benefits their department, trust me, they will be the one looking for you. I've had that experience. They will look for you. In fact, when they'll constantly say, please call communication for us. We want the PR people, we want the communications to come in. So that's some of the lessons that I can share.
Well, thank you so much, Ma. I have from what you said, I think you've mastered the politics of the office politics. Yes, when everyone knows what they are to gain, like you're saying, Stella, you gain this. Me too, I'm interested. Let's do this. So I'll gain this. So I'll be on the stories. My name will be there. So yeah, that's very important. I got a lot from what you said. Stakeholders analysis. So analyzing key stakeholders, the people you should be reaching out to, and what you also said about approaching them unofficially before sending them your memo or your letters officially. So they already have an idea of what you're sending. So it's not looking bulky because they have a lot of work. And the perception about communication, will I read all of this? So after you've communicated with them beforehand, and after they already have an understanding of what you're trying to do. Then training for non PR people. I think this is very important because most of the time we focus on training PR professionals. And yes, I know the importance of public relations because I'm in PR and communications, but someone that is in HR, someone that is in finance, doesn't understand the importance of strategic communications. If you can actually train these people, they will be the ones to actually say these things for you when you're not in the room. They can actually vouch for you. Yeah, that's another thing you said about liaising with your with your colleagues. So yes, thank you so much for sharing this. Um, you're sharing a lot of wisdom because, and again, working in the ministries or the government organizations, like you said, you have to do a lot of office politics so that you get what you want done at the right time and using the right channel and the right people. So thank you so much. So we just want to know what is the most challenging part of working in public relations and communications, especially as a female practitioner?
Um, Yes, I think I already started talking about it. You know, one of the greatest challenges is being undervalued when your work is not respected, when it is not seen as being important enough. Um, and this is speaking from experience, projects that have big budgets. You see that what is allocated to communication is just like, maybe it's like after the main allocation, the remaining change, they just be like, hey, just put it there. So it could be really frustrating. And I've also had the opportunity of supervising communication officers from different parts of Nigeria working in the projects. This is the one thing that frustrates them. When your idea is not recognized, because they feel like it's just, we all communicate, it's just communication, because they feel like, oh, communication is not just talking. No, communication is not just talking. It is a strategic, it's a strategic practice, that goes beyond just talking. It's about, fostering collaboration. It's about creating and maintaining great relationships. It's about tying the organizational goal to how staff understand themselves. If you do not understand yourself, if there's no, like charity, just like charity, PR and communication begins at home. For example, if the group of people that are working in a team do not understand the essence of effective communication, then they are going to be very far from attaining, the organizational goal. So one of the challenges that we constantly face is the value that is placed on our work, which affects how much resources you have to work with. Having to constantly explain yourself, having to constantly justify why X, Y, Z should be done, even when it is clearly obvious that it's beneficial to the organization. That's one of the challenges. But like I said, things are improving. In the project where I worked, by the time the project was closing, everybody was rooting for communication. They understood it because they saw the impact. They saw how communication helped to mobilize participation. They saw how communication helped to take the critical messages to the beneficiaries, the information that they need to make informed decisions, the knowledge that they need to maximize the intervention that was extended to them. So they saw it. They saw how communication helped to shine the light on all of the wonderful work that was done. They saw how communication helped to document the experiences and all of the success stories, including lessons learned. How communication helped to document that effectively. They also saw how communication helped to, our job is not just about publicity or just making money. We also put out fires. But most importantly, we try to prevent the fire from starting in the first place. We try to avoid reputational crisis or getting any crisis. So they'll see how we help, especially in the era of social media and fake news. Communication professionals have a lot to do. We are constantly on our toes, to make sure that the organization is not misunderstood, the organization is not misrepresented, and that the right perception is out there. And the funny thing is, another, now that you asked, another frustration is in most organizations, they seem to remember communication people when there's a crisis, right? That's when they will now be showing you, are you seeing what they are saying about us? And then sometimes they also see us like magicians, like make them stop. Maybe if they are having a press, we don't own the newspapers. Yes, we collaborate with journalists and media houses, but we don't tell them what to do. So we try our best to cultivate the relationship, cordial relationship that it helps us to enjoy that consideration. They reach out, information out there or any damaging piece of news, they could reach out for clarification. But we're not magicians, so I would like to see that organizations begin to prioritize PR and communications, and do not wait until there is fire before you start calling them to come and see what is happening. There are so many proactive steps you can take to prevent some of the negative press that organizations get. So, and some of these things occur when communication is neglected, is ignored. When you ignore it, at the end of the day, when it starts, anything goes wrong, then the communication person is not doing their job. So I think this, and I think that any communication person that is listening to me that has worked in organizations where you do not have adequate resources, where you don't have the adequate support, can relate to how communication people, they just call you. Did you see what is on the paper? Make it go away. Like just use the magic wand to just tell them to stop. So, but with increased awareness, like I said, thank God you have background in agriculture. The people that I had the privilege of leading their training last year, people from different backgrounds. We had animal husbandry people, we have animal health officers in our training. We have especially the fiduciary team, that's accountants, auditor, procurement. These are the people that are questioning how money is spent. And they don't seem to think that you get enough value for the amount of money that goes into communication. So they are all about getting value, and most of your initiatives may be seen as ineligible. They'll be like, this activity is ineligible. But and I am very happy to say that all of the trainings that we did last year, the people that were most excited, even these people that I just mentioned, they were like, wow, they took personal lessons away. They realized that not only could they use communication to solve problems in the workplace, they could also use communication to solve personal problems at home, in their personal lives. So the takeaways, and I'm very happy that after each of our trainings, the feedback we always get from the communication officers in this are like, thank you for coming. Since you left, I have become, more important. They now see my work as, as very important to achieving the overall objective. So, so those are some of the points I like to share regarding the question.
All right, thank you, Ma. What you said about the work of peer professionals being undermined and being taken on very seriously. That is why, as an organization, we started the Experiencing Public Relations Conference. So the conference is about bringing business leaders, industry leaders that have used public relations to successfully build their business. So we can bring in a CEO that has used public relations. So the person that's talking about public relations is not a professional. So you might say, because you're in PR, that's why you're talking like this. But this person that is talking about public relations is a business owner. So the core objective of the conference is for us to talk about the importance of public relations so that other business leaders will also adapt these things and reduce the stress on PR professionals. So when they are coming up with a budget, the CEO is not saying, why are we coming up with this budget? They already know, they've heard, they've seen how organizations has built brand perception, has built brand loyalty with public relations. And some things that these people do not know is that advertising and marketing cannot get the work done for you the way public relations will. Because you see a lot of people spending thousands of dollars on ads. At the end of the day, there's no brand trust, there's no brand loyalty. The people just buy for a certain period and they stop. But public relations is like sowing seeds for foundation, like planting a tree that grows and grows and grows, and the roots are spread across. So I would say, yes, that is a major challenge for PRO people, trying to explain the great work that they do and trying to get people to value and to see the importance of their work. So thank you very much, Ma. We want to know, how do you stay updated with latest industry trends and best practices? We know that public relations and communication is quite large. It's a dynamic profession that is ever changing. So how do you stay updated, and how do you know the latest trends in the industry so you know the best practices to apply?
Thank you. So if there's any sector that is moving at the speed of light, I think it is our sector. It's constantly evolving, changing. What you did 10 years ago is still, what you did 5 years ago, people have moved on. And then with technology, which, is constantly evolving. You wake up today, what it was yesterday, you are struggling to operate even your devices. So how I stay, in touch with everything is number one, I invest heavily in self-development. Yes. I would say staying teachable is something that a PR and comms person cannot joke with. You have to stay teachable. You have to continue to learn. You have to invest in self-development. You have to take, for example, the new aspects of our work that is emerging. Look at new media, for instance. Look at artificial intelligence. If you were in a coma, if you went into a coma maybe 5 years ago and just wake up today, you'll be lost in the digital world. You will not even be able to find your way. So there's need for self development, which I invest a lot in self development learning. Then number two, digital media has made things really, really easy. Look at the interaction we're having. You are in Lagos, I'm in Abuja, and we're having this conversation. So the digital world is a tool that any comms or PR person that is worth his or her soul should make sure that they are abreast of digital trends. You have to be ahead of digital trends. You have to learn how to use the digital tools because they are constantly changing. The one you used yesterday is no longer, it's been upgraded. You have to find a way of how to use the tools to not just to navigate your way around the sector, but to also learn new skills. You have to learn new skills because this is 2025. I don't think there is any organization that is serious, any serious organization that is still solely depending on traditional practice, traditional media practice. If you are doing that, then the boss has left you behind. So I would say that one of the things that I have done is to constantly update my knowledge, constantly, if a new device, if a new platform is unveiled, get to know how to use it. Someone invented it, the person does not have two heads, find a way, to make sure that you are up to date on how to use all of the digital tools that are available, from artificial intelligence to social media and other forms of new media apart from social media, so that you will be a pro at the do. When we talk about the challenges, associated with doing this job, that is not being valued, not being recognized as we should. One of the factors that contributes is if you don't know your job, you cannot be respected. So if you want to be valued, if you want to be respected, you have to bring value. And how do you bring value? Look at COVID-19. When COVID-19 came, we were suddenly, the disruption was massive. Our communication people were running from pillar to post. How do we keep communicating? How do we do? Because the traditional way of communicating and interacting, our interactions were halted because of restricted movements. And then digital media came to the rescue. If you are a company that did not know how to, operate the digital platforms and all of the tools, then you are going to be lost. So this is how I keep myself updated and make sure that, I know what is going on. Then pay attention to the news. Social media is right there. There's so much that you can do without even leaving your physical environment. How did I connect with the Nigerian Women in Public Relations? Because I'm out there, looking at what's going on, what's the conversation about, what are we talking about, who are the players, who is there, and then I also make sure that I prioritize my professional affiliations. There are people who practice and they just feel like, no, I don't want to be associated with you think you already have your degree. That degree is definitely not going to help you. It is the knowledge that you acquire, it is the experiences, it is the exposure that you gain as you go along that will keep you relevant. So I would say what I have done, like I've said before, I invest a lot in self-development. I watch out for conversations. I join conversations when necessary. Make sure you have professional affiliations and stay active, I'd stay active. Don't stay there and still begin to practice what was done in 1960. This is 2025. In order to stay relevant, you have to stay active, you have to stay connected, you have to improve your digital literacy, and then interact with industry practitioners and keep your eyes open and be social, and be active. It's not enough to say, "Oh, I'm on the social media platforms," but you're not interactive, you're not active, you don't even know what is going on. So these are some of the things that I do to make sure that I stay connected with what is happening right now and then remain relevant.
All right, thank you so much, Bob. These tips were really, really in depth. So, a professional, someone that's just starting out, that is asking that how can I grow up the ladder? How can I go to management position as a PR manager or head of corporate communications? You have it, self development, be teachable, stay updated with trends, associate with communities because you cannot do it alone. And if there's something new out there, make sure that you know how it is being done. And like most professionals will say, you cannot do it alone. So join communities, ask questions, participate, be active. Yes, another part that you stated is be very active and intentional. Ma, we are very grateful. Thank you. That's all the questions we have for you. We don't know if you have any last words for us.
Okay, thank you so much, Stella. It's been an absolute pleasure having this conversation with you. I think my last word would be that every successful PR system or communication system is built on strategic stakeholder management. Because at the end of the day, everybody is a stakeholder, even your co-workers are your stakeholders. So it's built on great strategic stakeholder management, and that should be taken very seriously. And then to all my colleagues in the industry, I want to say, try to think outside the box, be creative, do something. We're talking about how we went to the farm to have a chat. It was an idea. It was a novel idea, and every single person that participated there said this is the first time they've ever been. And it was so organic. They also had the opportunity to also tour the farm and also improve their knowledge. So our work, especially my colleagues that work in ministries and agencies, our work will become monotonous. When you do routine work, when you keep doing the same thing over and over again, it will become boring. You feel like, what am I doing? Please, let's be creative. Think outside the box. Come up with creative solutions, because the creative solutions that you bring to the team is what is going to make you relevant and respected at the end of the day. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Ma. Thank you, Ma. Like what you said, people do monotonous work. You see that some people, they climb up the ladder based on experience, but not based on knowledge. So they find themselves in an agency or a ministry and they grow up the rank, but they do not implement new things. They don't do new things. They just say, yeah, let's print on radio, let's print on GM, normal traditional media, newspapers. They don't bring in new ways. And we know that the world has gone digital right now because most people want to see the reach and impression of the conversations that are happening. So yes, don't be monotonous. Like as you're going up the rank, learn new things, adapt new strategies so that your work can stand out. Thank you so much, ma'am. Really appreciate you for your time and um, thank you. We are really grateful. This conversation has been very, very insightful. And we can tell from your knowledge, you had a lot to share. Because if we still give you time, you still have a lot of nuggets and knowledge to share with us. We're really grateful for your time. Thank you. Thank you so much. Do enjoy the rest of your day, ma.
So, thank you very much. Thank you.
All right. All right. Bye, ma.
Bye. Thank you.